You know, they say that there's 5 stages to grief. And we see that played out even in our lives and in our relationships with God and with other people. That when we do things that we're not supposed to do, we almost go through those 5 stages. The first stage of grief is denial. You know, I don't have a problem. You know, when you talk about grief, it applies to that. But when it talks to your walk with God, denial, I don't really have a problem. You know, it's somebody else. You know, it's the world that I'm living in. It's people around me that are making me do these things, right? It's the reason the people that my wife or my husband are saying or doing things that are aggravating me and making me act out. It's that first stage of denial. We see it every day in our life. We constantly find ways to try to excuse away the fact that we're not living for God. Somewhere along those 5 stages, there's another stage called bargaining. That's the third one, actually. It's called bargaining, where we try to bargain with God. Well, you know, God, I'm going to live for you if you'll do this for me. I've got this need in my life. I can't pay my bills. I've got a family member that is sick. I've got somebody that's facing a terrible situation in my life. God, I promise I'll serve you from now on if you'll just take care of this problem. And we start to bargain with Him. And we even see the 4th stage of grief kick in when we come to a place where we go into a deep state of depression. We allow ourselves to just fall apart. God doesn't love me anymore. God doesn't care about me anymore. You know, no matter what I do, it seems like things just get worse. And the 5th stage of grief, as it is applied to our Christian walk, is acceptance. And I think we do that too. We just start accepting the fact that we are who we are and we can't change. We've got to make sure that we don't allow ourselves to get into a place where we just think it's okay to sin. It's okay to not do the things that are pleasing to God. Listen, Jesus paid an awesome price. Everything that you could possibly need to be set free, Jesus did, hanging there on that cross. And then rising again on the 3rd day. Everything we need, the Bible says, everything that pertains unto life and godliness has already been given to us. We just simply can't afford to come to a place where we just accept ourselves and say it's okay to be a sinner. It's okay to not live for God. It's okay to just do the things I'm doing and keep living like I'm living. Listen, we've got to come to a point where we wrestle with our flesh and make our spirit man dominant and say, I'm going to live for the Lord no matter what. True pleasure in the human experience and even in our relationship with God comes when we do His will. There's no greater pleasure that can be found by humanity than the pleasure and the joy that is found when we embrace the plan of God. When we simply embrace the will of God for our lives. It's the greatest joy ever.